then I think that nothing may surprise me in this war any longer. Russians came out with something new. Yeah, this is the armored vehicle of the Russian army out there on assault in the Zaporizhia direction with Russian and American flags. As you can see, it's definitely on the road. Well, Russians claim that it is infantry vehicle M113, which they trophied from Ukrainian army, but in fact, it's not like that. This is just a propaganda video filmed by the Russian army somewhere maybe in occupied Zaporizhia direction. You may see the vehicle went ahead. Some of the fireworks here simulates the combat, but it's not really a combat mission. This was shared by the Russia Today and it is just a propaganda video. And there is no logical ending, the vehicle runs ahead and that's it, probably losing its flags on the way. So Russian propaganda completely switched its regime from Americans our enemies to Americans are our friends. And why did they do it? Well, it's pretty much understandable. They want to force the United States to stop supporting Ukraine. It is their only goal. And they will put American flags elsewhere. Putin may say everything possible to achieve his personal goal. And so far, I see that this tactics from Russia is working. And Putin's visit to Alaska with that red carpet and everything really shows that Russia wins in diplomacy here. And yet it's not M113 but Gaz-71 towing vehicle. And there are memes already. Remember those army guys? They are here already. Like this one, yeah? It's crazy. Meanwhile, on the front lines, the situation for the Russian army is not that good. Ukraine started the counterattack once again, reinforced it in Sumy region. And for the last 24 hours, Ukraine was capable to liberate one of the villages. It is called Varachine. This is the map. We may zoom in. I took the map from the Maiko 73 analytic. He's really competent with his analysis of the frontline situation, so I always check his maps. Because they refer to original information, so we have the confirmation from the Russian drones that the Ukrainian units were spotted in nearby tree lines. It means that our guys propelled forward, leaving the Varachine village behind. And now the fight is ongoing for Oleksiivka as well as for Novomykolaivka. In general, it means that the Russian offensive in Sumy region stalled. There were some of the fights recently for Yunakivka, but they were not that severe. And what's about Pokrovsk and Dobropilya direction? Well, the fiasco of the Russian army was confirmed. They surrendered even to Ukraine in Zoloty Kolodys and also near the road which connects Dobropilya and Kramatorsk. But in general, in the last 24 hours, I don't see the huge changes in this direction. I mean Dobropilya, as well as I don't see those in Pokrovsk. Well, the Deep State military map gives us the new update, but in general there is no change in this pocket and also in the Torets, Konstantinovka, no changes for the last 24 hours. Where Russia moved is over here, not far away from Novopil, towards Temerivka. So it was yesterday, it is today. They took this tree line and the part of the field road, expanding also the gray area towards Zaporizhia, a very small village, just a couple of the streets. So they have this attack vector in the southern part here, but this attack on the top near Zeleny High, it was stopped by Ukraine, and the last movement from the Russian army was just a little one over here, not far away from Voskresenka. But where Russia moved successfully is towards Serebranka. According to different information, it wasn't just this light movement of the Russian army in Grigorivka. They actually advanced towards this settlement. And it is not small, as you may see. There are numerous of the streets, households, it is close to the river, so Russia creates some sort of the bridgehead for the further south towards even Slavyansk. It's like the future perspective for them. So this information we have from the Maiko 73, Russia put their flags there in Serebranka already. So flags were spotted in ruined buildings. There were numerous locations of those flags, but Ukraine continued to operate with artillery targeting Russian forces already in Serebranka. It means that Ukraine moved its army out from this settlement, and here is the Russian flag, as you may see, but in most of the cases it is still a gray area. As for example, Maiko 73 analytics shows, so Russia advances with the small sabotage groups, and their goal is to go across the gray area and put the flags. And the Russian military command simply doesn't care if they are kaputted or not. The main goal for Russians is to film flags and show to the highest rank military command that they've took Serebranka, for example, to report it. Russian officers even have this term, we took the settlement in credit, so they report that they've taken it, Russian media says about it, but in fact it's not happening like that. Nevertheless, guys, we see that Russia moves, even with those small forces with flags at first, but they may send more of the mid-waves, more soldiers, more motorcyclists, and after it, armored vehicles and so on. So Russia still has advantage over Ukraine on the front lines in general. Yeah, we're not speaking about Sumy region because there Ukraine has advantage and Russia stalled completely, but here in East, Russia propels forward. The only exception is here, where Ukraine successfully counterattacked thanks to the heroism of Ukrainian special units, very capable units. And Russia has numerous losses. This is T-90 tank per reef, the best Russian tank if we exclude Armata, because Armata is not proved to be reliable in actual military action, but T-90, well, it is capable tank, I would say, but still it burns the same as T-72 or T-55 or T-62. I wonder what's this direction, probably the eastern side of Ukraine, but they do not specify it. Russia also lost Tiger vehicles, it's kind of rare that they use MRAPs. Guys, I have some of the drone images showing the Ukrainian forces in operation in Pokrov's direction and in Dobropilya. Here are our paratroopers, but I cannot show you fully this video, unfortunately. What I can say that here Russians surrendered, that's it. And this is kind of the interesting video. This dot here is the Russian soldier, a wounded one who goes to Ukrainian position to surrender. He's been guided by Ukrainian drone, but Russians, what they did, they sent their drone with a drone drop and they cancelled their own soldier who was willing to surrender. That is how they deal with, as they say, betrayal. But in fact, this Ruzzian just wanted to save his own life, and because of that he was punished. You'll never see this stuff in Ukrainian army. That's the big difference between Russia and Ukraine, the attitude to military personnel. Even if we speak about this Russian offensive, Russia lost hundreds of the soldiers in this useless attack. It is definitely useless. Moreover, their forces are still encircled in Kucherev Yar without supplies, and there is the risk of them to be encircled in Novoshakhove if Ukraine is successful cutting the Russian supplies here. But the thing here that Russians themselves are okay with those kind of the losses. So 100 men, 1,000 men, doesn't really matter for the Russian society. But imagine Ukraine conducting the operation like this with the same outcome, like a useless breakthrough with a part of the Ukrainian army encircled in some of the settlement and hundreds of soldiers are zeroed. So Ukrainian society would get mad about it. So all of the military speakers, as I am, like volunteers, they would start to tell about the incompetence of the Ukrainian command. As by the way, I told that Russians broke through Ukrainian defense. But again, for Russia, everything is normal. So their society is damn sick because they allow those losses to happen and they're damn calm about it. And Putin plus the Russian military, they understand it, that there is no reaction and they can use mid-waves again and again. I'm kind of the old guy already and I remember the first Russian-Chechen war, the second one as well. And I recall the reaction of the Russian society. They were in despair, they were sad about the Russian losses, but there Russia lost nearly 5,000 soldiers. Yes, for entire Chechen campaign, and it was a great tragedy back then in Russia. But now Russia may lose the same number of the soldiers per single week in Ukraine. And Russians are okay, Russians are fine, so with all this Russian propaganda, the Russian society basically degraded to inaction, total, complete uselessness. The lack of empathy, morale, judgment, it's the current Russia right now, and it will take decades to change that. Oh, this is huge. Look at this. Did you see? The cruise missile. Oh my god. Do you know the name of it? It is Flamingo, the first long-range Ukrainian-made missile. This missile has outstanding range of 3,000 kilometers. So I would say Ukraine is capable to target most of the Russian infrastructural, military, or oil and gas facilities. As it was said, Ukraine launches the massive production of those heavy missiles. I think that it is the result of the cooperation with Germans. Merz before said that they're gonna develop really fast some sort of the long-range weaponry for Ukraine, together with the Ukrainians on Ukrainian territory, so it will be Ukrainian-produced missile, but we're gonna help Ukraine. And I would say it could be even better than Taurus, because it looks really huge, it doesn't require the airplane to be fired, and the range is outstanding. And definitely I see some sort of the German technology here. Yeah, looks like V1 almost exactly, just different engine, different empennage, but yeah, and Ukrainian missile is bigger, Ukrainian-German missile, I would say. And you know, V1 was really more effective compared to V2. Yeah, V2 was ballistic missile, but this missile kept the Royal Air Force busy trying to shut it down. Plus, it was really cheap in production, and I agree, I took it from one of our commenters in Telegram. Well, if it is Flamingo, we should use some Photoshop and paint it in pink color. I think it really fits this missile. If you wonder about the payload, it might carry 1000 kgs. That's a lot. So if we take, for example, Poltava city, from that one, Ukraine may reach everything of that with this missile. Just a single Russian strategic aviation base is out from this strike. It's called Ukrainka and it's on the far east. But the rest, Olenia, Engels, Kerch Bridge, those could be vaporized if Ukraine really starts the massive production of those missiles, but I think this time the chances for it are quite big. Because before there was the project with the Ukrainian Trembita missile, but I don't honestly see them flying in the Russian airspace. Mostly those are just looted drones or small ultralight aircraft converted into the drones. Maybe because Trembita is after all kind of small, has the short range of 140 kilometers, and the warhead 20 kilograms is basically nothing. The only advantage of it was the airspeed up to 400 kilometers an hour, so it's very hard to shut it down. From what I understood, several of those were built, but they were not on a massive scale production. Maybe it is for the best, because drones are way more capable and way more cheaper. And again, let's look at Flamingo launch. So here it goes. You have acceleration engine, which lifts the cruise missile up. Then the jet engine comes to power. Yeah, sorry for the watermark. Then the boost engine, you can see it disconnects, it falls down, and the missile continues its flight to Moscow or wherever. I would say that this launch looks very stable, as well as the missile flight. I think it's outstanding. Could it be a game changer or something? Well, it depends on the scale of Ukrainian production of those missiles again. But Ukraine is going to the right direction. Long-range missiles are must-have. And remember, yesterday I've told you about the Russian general who was caputed. Well, here is his convoy in the Kursk region. There were numerous of the cars, Bukhanka vans, trucks, and his official car, and all of that was targeted by Ukraine. Hammer strike with the standard Gimler's missiles. And this is what Russia is doing. They targeted civilian residential building in Kharkiv itself. They launched 5 of the Shahid drones to hit civilian building. Yeah, it's not a production facility, it's not the military base, it is just a building, and there were many of the kids, many of those delivered to hospitals, and I think one is unalived because of the Russian strike. There was the gap in the Russian strikes in Ukraine, but now Russia restarted those. They also attacked Odessa and Zaporizhia. Unfortunately, Putin will not stop, and Taka plays in favor of Putin, as we understand. Today there's going to be the Oval Office meeting 2.0 between Zelensky and Donald Trump, and of course I'm going to record one more video specifically about the case. But honestly, I do not expect anything good for Ukraine from the current White House administration, because idiots like Doni and Vitkov are there. Zelensky already mentioned that it would not be possible to give up territory to Russia, but Trump says that Zelensky of Ukraine can't end the war with Russia almost immediately. I guess if he gives the territory to Russia, right? And honestly, guys, I do not believe in American guarantees for Ukraine. Actually, there are valid guarantees already. Budapest Memorandum, it was not cancelled, it is still in action. So according to it, Russia, United States and United Kingdom at least should protect Ukraine. Russia is attacking Ukraine, UK helps, but it's not like full military support or something. United States, they are taking the Russian side right now. So do not believe United States or any sort of the other country which tells you to give up your weaponry, your nukes. No, nukes are the only guarantees for your security of your country. And many countries around the world, they understand that the United States will no longer protect them, so the only option is to acquire nukes, and it is actually kind of dangerous. trying not to escalate, and inaction against aggressor country creates more risks. And it seems like there is the history lesson from the Second World War, but humanity never learns, especially those idiots who rule United States. I think we're gonna enter to the hot stage of the Third World War in a few years. It could be gradually, it could be rapidly. Well, actually, the Third World War already has begun from Ukraine in 2014, but it will intensify, and we're all gonna feel it. I just hope that nuclear weaponry will not be used, but the probability for it is quite high in the coming years. I'm not saying tomorrow, but autocracies and democracies, they cannot sustain living together in one economy field or system. There is a direct escalation and confrontation. This problem is unresolvable. Only war may resolve it, unfortunately, and China is heading towards this war. Russia is already at war, so yeah. You may throw potatoes at me, but my forecast is not good. Alright, what we have here? Kind of the new business model from the Russian hero who returned from the front lines. Putin says that those are the Russian elite and they will rule Russia in the future. Yeah, clearly here we see the confirmation of it.
Здравствуйте. Здравствуйте, здравствуйте. Вас как зовут?
Сергей меня зовут, а вас?
Sergey, he's not hiding his face, he is wearing Russian uniform, many of the awards, and he is begging for money in some of the place.
Группу пока гражданскую, потом перевести, чтобы на военную. Не хотят давать? Вот наскреб сегодня. Посмотрите, пожалуйста.
He says that he became disabled and there is no compensation for his health loss. He also haven't received the money for his contract and he was dismissed from the Russian army because he obtained wounds, but still no payment. Nevertheless, he found out the way of how to collect his first million. What can I say? A reality of the Russian army. Alright, Russians again went on attack in their boxes, those BMPs converted into hunger BMPs, and this video filmed by Azov Corps. They operate in Torets direction as well, so this is Russian new breakthrough in Torets, which didn't happen. Their vehicles are basically been hit. Russian infantry landed into local ruined buildings in those trees. And later on was finished with the drone drops. Guys, sorry I cannot share those infantry videos because, yeah, then some good is flying to hit Russian soldier. I cannot show it here. Guys, probably today I'm gonna make the stream, then the meeting in the White House starts. And later on I'm gonna film the update video as the outcome of this meeting. So stand by for it, and guys, thank you so much for your kind support on Patreon. Because of your motivation I continue to film more and more on my channel. Thank you so much for hiring me to this mission. I really like the job that I do for you. Now my friends, I wish you all a peaceful sky wherever you are and have a great time.